Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Sahara Omar. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist practicing here in the state of Texas. And today's video, I wanted to break down for you guys the grief cycle, all the different phases that comes with the grief cycle, when do we experience grief in general, and help you guys move towards that final stage of the acceptance and kind of share with you guys like how do I do that in therapy as well. Okay, so when we think of the grief cycle, first we need to first understand we experience grief anytime we lose or experience loss. The loss itself can be a loss of a person that's important to us, a loss of an animal that's important to us, a loss of an opportunity that we were planning for to get, a loss of any concept or an idea as well that we prepared ourselves to have, right? Unfortunately, society programs us all to have the specific thought processes and fantasies and ideas that they teach us from a young age. So when we grow up as adults and we cannot meet those goals that society expected of us or our family of origin expect of us, we're naturally going to experience grief, and we have to allow ourselves to grieve correctly so that way we are able to show up as healthy human beings. Okay, so there are 5 stages to the grief cycle. It first starts with the denial phase. The denial phase, when you meet someone who's stuck in a denial phase, if you ask them how you're feeling, specifically after a loss, they will say, I'm fine, everything is fine. They're very shocked because it hasn't sunk in that you do not have this opportunity or the person or the animal with you anymore, right? Like the loss itself has not sunk in. So they're very, at this stage, a lot of people who are stuck in this phase, they really pick up extra jobs and extra hobbies. They will distract. And sometimes they even will turn into substance use as well, depending on how big the loss is itself. So they're very much so, they are small with their words. They're not able to elaborate why they are experiencing what they're experiencing or just sitting with that emotion in itself, okay? And then from there, we kind of jump between sadness and anger for a while. With sadness, we're allowing ourselves to not just get stuck, right? Like we have to cry it out. We have to feel that emotion moved in our body. If you're stuck in the sadness, you're going to experience a lot of depression. Depression is the lack of expression of sadness. So when we suppress sadness, we're going to feel depressed because we are telling ourselves we need to push through things and not feel that sadness, right? So that's what we want to avoid as we are grieving. And then the angry phase, that angry phase is very apparent, right? Like we can tell when someone's stuck in that angry phase. They have problem with everyone all the time. Everything is a problem. They sometimes express it verbally in dysfunctional ways or physically in dysfunctional ways. Everything can tick this person off, essentially, right? And they're not learning how to feel that anger in a healthy way and express it in healthy ways and then move towards the next stage. And then when we have bargaining, you're just trying to make sense of why you experienced this loss in the first place. The way that we look at it from therapy is, what meaning are you attaching to this loss itself? Are you telling yourself it's just part of the process of being a human being? Are you attributing it to God's will if you're a person of faith? Are you attributing it to luck, right? Like how are you making sense of why you just lost what you lost in the first place, okay? And depending on if you can attach a good meaning, then you arrive at that final stage, which is acceptance. Most people who are stuck in that bargaining phase, what they are struggling with is coming up with a new perspective, a new way to make sense of the why. And then if you notice, the last phase is that acceptance phase, and I drew one arrow. When we arrive at acceptance, we can talk about the loss without having any major emotions come up. And we can talk about it in details with people, and we are content with ourselves. We're not stuck in our brain a lot. There isn't a lot of ruminating, a lot of thinking. When people arrive at acceptance also, they're not spiraling in their personal life. So acceptance is almost like a peaceful experience. We can just talk about what happened without feeling overwhelmed or shutting down essentially as well too. Okay, so trauma is interesting. I'll share with you guys another video in the future that kind of breaks it down, like how trauma can force us to be stuck in this grief cycle because it's overwhelming, right? And depending on how old you were when you experienced trauma, this becomes one of these phases or stages become your norm, the way that you operate in life. So we have to also learn from our past and kind of reflect on our past. If we experience any kind of traumas, are we grieving correctly as well? So it's not only current grieving process, it's also past experiences as well. So if you ask me, I would not call this cycle a cycle because it's not cyclical, right? It's more of a pendulum. So you're going to be naturally moving between these phases back and forth for a while. So you're going to swing between the phases for a while until you arrive at acceptance. So when I meet my clients in therapy, the place that I meet them at is the bargaining place. They get tired of either being angry or sad, or their families or people around them get tired of these two primary emotions constantly being showing up for them. And then they arrive at therapy and then they are stuck here because they cannot think of another way to look at the problem or look at the loss itself. And eventually, as we are talking through things and I challenge the way they think about the loss itself, eventually they arrive at that acceptance and they're able to be okay overall. Okay, so the challenge for you guys, here's the question I'm going to leave with you guys is, are you recognizing any of these phases as a place that you're stuck in, specifically after a loss? And those of you who experience traumas, you have to dig deeper a little bit and recognize where are you stuck in from your past experiences and your current experience. And challenge yourself to move towards that acceptance. And like I said, most people find themselves stuck in that bargaining phase, which is where I recommend go to therapy or speak to someone outside of yourself so that way they can bring a new perspective into your experience as well. I hope you guys liked the video. Please feel free to hit that thumbs up, leave a comment below, and also don't forget to subscribe and share with people this video. Thank you.